I'm Steve Scott. Let's talk hop.
Hi, I'm Steve Scott, and I'm a consultant working in human and organizational performance, or HOP. And I get asked every now and then, what is HOP? What is human and organizational performance? So I thought I'd put together a quick video just to describe very simply and at a pretty high level what is human and organizational performance. And I thought a good way to do that was to show you a picture and then tell you a story. So first, I'm going to show you a picture. And when I show you this picture, I just want to ask the question, what do you see? So here goes. What do you see? So how many of you look at this? And yes, this is an extreme example, but how many of you, when you see something like this in a plant, your immediate reaction is, that's a crazy worker or a stupid worker or a careless worker doing something stupid. They made a choice to do something unsafe. Does that sound familiar? Because that's what I did for years when I worked in operations. That's how I responded when I saw those things. And I think it's a pretty normal response. But when we see something like that and we respond that way, then what do we want to do? We're going to try to fix the worker, right? We're going to stop and we're going to get them down and we're going to say, oh my goodness, I can't believe you did that. Everybody knows you're not supposed to do that. We've got a rule that says don't do that. I know you know the rule because we covered it in the toolbox meeting 6 months ago, and here's your name on the sign-in sheet. So you knew the rule and you chose to violate that rule. Here's your punishment. We blame and punish the worker, and we feel like we've then fixed something. But have we? What have we fixed? We've not bothered to do anything to understand why that worker thought that that was the right thing to do in that situation. And if we've not bothered to understand that, if we've not bothered to address what made that worker think that was the right thing to do, have we really fixed anything? So instead of looking at that as a crazy worker doing something stupid or reckless or careless, what if we look at those situations as that's a worker trying to do the job that we pay them to do, who doesn't have the right tools, equipment, training, resources to do it the right way, the safe way? Because I'm really, really sure that people don't wake up in the morning and go to work with the intent of putting themselves in harm's way, knowingly, willingly putting themselves at risk of serious injury or death. They do that because the work environment that they work in is very complex. It's sometimes chaotic. And humans are really, really adaptive. We're really good at adapting to that dynamic, chaotic work environment. And these are workers that are trying to do the job that we pay them to do the best way they know how. And if we look at those situations that way, then we want to do a couple things. First off, we want to help the worker. We want to understand, why did that worker get themselves in a position where they thought that was the right thing to do? And then we want to learn and improve for next time. We want to look at the system that worker works in, and we want to say, how can we make it so that nobody ever finds themselves in this same predicament again? So that it's easy for workers to do the right thing and really hard for them to do the wrong thing. That's human and organizational performance. Now, let's apply that purely to safety. So here's the story. You've got a worker working on scaffolding about 60 feet up in the air over a concrete surface. They're wearing fall protection. They're working at different heights, so he's got a harness, retractable lanyard. It's attached to an engineered anchor point. Worker steps out on a scaffold board's rotted, it breaks, worker falls. When the worker falls, he slams into the tank and he ends up with a couple cracked ribs. Is that a success or a failure? So how you answer that question probably depends on how you define safety. If we define safety the way we've traditionally done it, by 0 incidents, then that's a failure because we had an incident, right? But expecting 0 incidents is kind of like expecting perfection, isn't it? We're expecting our people to be perfect. We're expecting the equipment to be perfect, the process to be perfectly stable, the work environment to be perfectly consistent. We're expecting perfection in all things in order to assure 0 incidents, which is kind of unrealistic, isn't it? So rather than look at safety as the absence of incidents, what if we think of safety as the presence of defenses. Or Todd Conklin likes to use the word the presence of capacity. We have the capacity for something bad to happen without having somebody seriously injured or killed. So when we put people up on scaffolding 60 feet up in the air, there's always a hazard of fall. The fact that we gave them a harness, a lanyard, and an anchor point, we trained them how to use it, they wore it properly, created the capacity to fail safely. So rather than define safety as the absence of incidents, let's think of safety as the presence of defenses or the presence of capacity. Because just because nothing bad happened yesterday doesn't mean nothing bad is going to happen today. What keeps us safe today is having the capacity to fail safely, having the right defenses in place so that when something bad happens, we don't have a serious injury or a fatality. So that's kind of my view of HOP in a nutshell. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to contact me. Here's my name, my email, my LinkedIn information. If you go on LinkedIn, my phone number's there. Give me an email, give me a call. Thanks.